Prior to the Hot and Hazy update in Grounded, I never really considered using feather arrows because getting crow feathers, which are required to craft them, was not easy. Now that crow feathers are much more abundant, I think it's time to take a look at feather arrows to see if they are worth using. In this video, I'll be testing normal arrows versus the feather arrows with both the insect bow and crow crossbow to see if feather arrows are worth using. Before we begin, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and turn on notifications to never miss any future videos, and a special thank you to all my channel members. You can become a channel member today for as little as $2 and have your name appear in future videos, as well as unlock loyalty badges, exclusive emotes, and special Discord roles by clicking the join button below. Once again, thank you to all my channel members. Let's get started. So first things first, let's look at two different arrows that we're going to be testing out. We're going to be looking at feather arrows today, and we're going to be looking at regular arrows. Regular arrows are crafted using mite fuzz and thistle needles. These are very easy to craft because there's a lot of lawn mites walking around the yard, and there's tons of plants that have the thistle needles. So these are really easy to craft. Now, when you craft these, you're going to end up getting 5 for each stack. So we'll craft a stack real quick. You're going to see we went from 34. Now we're up to, actually it gives you 10. Sorry. So you actually get 10 arrows for each one of these, which is fantastic. The feather arrows, on the other hand, are going to cost 1 crow feather piece and 2 silk ropes. It should be pretty easy to get crow feathers, honestly. I built a pretty large building over in the hedge using a lot of crow feather pieces and didn't even come close to running out. I think I still have some over there as well. Honestly, if you're having trouble getting crow feathers, the place you probably want to check most often is near the mysterious machine. That's where my main base is set up on this survival world, and pretty much every couple of days when I come back, there's going to be a crow feather. Of course, I also go over by the bird bath every once in a while, as there's sometimes 2 to 3 feathers over there as well. So other than that, you can go in the haze. I haven't even turned off the haze on this world, and I never go in there because honestly, the crow feather pieces in there are the small crow feathers where they only give you 1. But I really never run out of feathers. Now, to be fair, I don't build a ton of roofs, and I'm not doing a ton of building in this world, but I've just never really run low on crow feathers. So anyway, when you craft these, it's only going to give you 2, I believe. So we have 51 right now. Yeah, so this is only going to give you 2, whereas the regular arrows are going to give you 10. So that's what we're going to be looking at first. First things first is the arrows. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the weapons we're going to be using. So I have a level 6 insect bow. I have a level 5 crow crossbow. Unfortunately, I do not have the quartzite or the quartzite gloves to upgrade these. We're not really comparing the two with each other. Honestly, after the Hot and Hazy update, these two have about the same DPS now. It's probably about exactly the same because the damage on the crow crossbow compared to the speed of the reload speed of the insect bow makes them where they do about almost, I think it's exactly the same DPS. So it's just going to be preference. Obviously, with the insect bow being 1 level higher, it's going to do a little bit more damage. But basically what we're going to be testing out is how much more damage do the feather arrows do versus the regular arrows, and are they worth using it? Now, a couple reasons why you might not want to use the feather arrows are, obviously, I just talked about the crow feathers. If you have trouble getting crow feathers, the feather arrows are going to be much harder to craft. The second reason, which to me is definitely going to affect more people, is arrows sometimes fall through the map. So if you miss your shot, or specifically if you miss your shot, or even if you hit your shot, sometimes the arrows will literally just fall right through the map and they're gone. You can't pick them up. They will get clipped inside of the tree branches. They'll get clipped inside of rocks. They'll get clipped inside of the roots of the oak tree. All kinds of things can happen. They can also, if you miss your shot, they can completely fly away and you might never find them and they'll just despawn. So that would be that would be the second reason, probably more important, because I think, like I said, crow feathers are pretty easy to get. Now for our testing, I'm probably going to use the antlion armor, I think, because antlion armor does get faster attack speed. Although I think to start out, we'll use the spider armor just so we can actually see the damage that's done. For my testing before, I believe the feather arrows actually do 50% more damage. So let's head on out into the yard after I take a quick sleep, and it'll be morning, and we'll head out and test these arrows against a couple different insects using both bows just to see how much damage they do, if it's worth doing it. Basically, we're going to be looking at time to kill. So if we can kill them much faster or much fewer shots, then it probably will be worth using the crow feather or the feather arrows. So. Okay, so I took a nap or slept through the night, and one other thing we're going to do is I do have a marksman's cap, so we'll definitely test that out a little bit just to see for time to kill. I think the main thing we want to test this against is probably going to be mosquitoes and bees because they're the ones that I use arrows against most. Of course, stink bugs are weak to arrows, but I typically have been using the antlion greatsword against most things, although I will use arrows against stink bugs, obviously, because if you get too close to them, they will stink you up and do a ton of damage. And then, of course, against mosquitoes, because they're really annoying and they fly up in the air, they'll attack and then fly away. They're going to be much harder to kill with a melee weapon, so we're going to definitely test it against them. And then for our statuses real quick, I wanted to show you the statuses I'm using. I am going to test coup de grace at some point, but I wanted to, for the base testing, just to see how much the damage difference is. We're going to have that turned off to start off just to make sure that the feather arrows do in fact do about 50% more damage. We got sharpshooter, which can root the enemies when we're attacking them. Of course, we have Meat Shield on Buffalongs, Juicy, and I just have Mithridatism on in case we get attacked by a wolf spider. So let's grab some food real quick, and then we will head out and start our testing. Alright, so I may move over to the red anthill. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can test this against some soldier ants just to see how much the difference damage is. So first up, we're going to have the regular arrows, and we're going to shoot this guy. And as you can see, it did about, what was that, 1.5 bars. Oh, he's going to start doing chunking damage on me. Let me get back to this rock, see if we can see his health bar. But this is using the insect bow. Oh, he's probably going to run away. This guy we're just going to wipe out because I don't feel like fighting him. So it did maybe about 2 bars. There's our arrow. It fell to the ground. This is with the basic arrows. So you can select your arrows here. We have basic arrows selected. And we want to get another one. Is this the guy that's mad at us? Alright, so here's one over here. Isolating enemies in survival can be a pain. So yeah, you can see that one took him down to about where the T is. So let's just finish him off real quick. Is that him? That's a different one. So what I want to do is, this is a different one. We're going to switch over to the other arrows to see how much extra damage it does. So this is now going to be using a feather arrow. And perfect, this guy seems to be glitched. So it did about to the end. Let's just finish him off. So maybe it's not even 50%. Maybe it's only 50% against the bigger insects. We're going to do a couple more shots here. Oh, these guys are going to get annoying. Alright, let me run away so they de-aggro. Alright, so I got the ants to stop chasing me. We're going to go back over there. So it looked like the feather... It obviously did more damage. I thought they did 50% more damage, but perhaps they actually don't do 50% more damage. Maybe that was happening when I was using it against insects that are weak to arrows. But we're definitely going to try it a couple more times just to see exactly how much more damage it does. So here's this guy. He is at full health. Start shot. This one it did... What did it do? It did to about the T, so that's not even close to 50% more damage. It might actually only be... I'm thinking it might only be maybe like 10 or 20% more damage. I swear when I tested it before against the... We're going to test it against other insects, just to make sure. I'm going to go test it against some mosquitoes, and probably the stink bugs that are right over here. That's kind of interesting. I swear that it used to do way more damage than that. But it does do more damage, but maybe they're not actually worth using. So let's get over here. There's some stink bugs over here. And what we'll do is, let's use the crow crossbow this time, just for the bonus damage. And then we have the regular arrows right now. Let's see how many shots it takes. Let's hit him. So it took him about down to the halfway through 1 bar, and he's probably going to lunge at us. It's 2 shots, 3 shots, 4 shots. So it took 4 shots with the regular arrows. Now let's switch over to the crow arrows. Now just to show, I did not change any of my mutations. The mutations are exactly the same. So obviously if you have coup de grace on, you can probably, if you get a crit, if it takes 4 shots, that crit's probably going to proc at least once, so it might only take 3. And this is only a level 5. Oh, it's not even a level... Oh, it's level 6, right? This is a level 5, so it's not even leveled up to mighty yet. So this guy, with the... Now we're on the feather arrows. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it still took 4 shots to kill him. Which is just making it seem like maybe the feather, so they're definitely hitting for more damage, but are they even worth using? Let's try a couple other things here. Let's put on the marksman's cap, which is going to give us more damage. Let's put on coup de grace instead of, let's see, we can take off Juicy, put on coup de grace. Then we're going to use the insect bow here. This should be doing a little bit more damage just because it's a higher level. See if we can get it in less hits. Actually, no, let's use the same weapon. See if we can get it in less than 4. There's 1. There's 2. Alright, so with the marksman's cap, it only took 3. That's a little bit better. But now let's try the same setup using the regular arrows and see if it's going to still take... It's going to take 3. So we got the regular arrows equipped. Let's get this stink bug stuff out of here. You know, I probably should just put on... Let's get rid of... Buffalongs. We'll just put on fresh defense so we don't get stunk up. Let's get our feather arrows back. So it took 3 shots with the feather arrows. How many does it take with the 1, 2, 3? It still took 3. To be completely honest, this is almost feeling like the feather arrows are not even worth using. They obviously do more damage. And perhaps if you can get lucky and get some crits, they're going to be worth using. But overall, they just feel kind of underwhelming. We're definitely going to go test them out against mosquitoes, though, because mosquitoes are the insects that I use bows against mostly now because, and I'm nearly dead, because they're just kind of annoying to hit with melee weapons. So let's head on over to the pond and see if we can find ourselves some mosquitoes and see if it's worth using against them. Okay, I went over to the koi pond. I did find a couple mosquitoes over here, fortunately. So what we're going to do is we're going to equip the antlion armor.
That should keep me safe.
So we can shoot faster. I did turn off coup de grace because I'm just kind of interested to see how much damage they do. Because I swear when I tested this before, they actually did, the feather arrows did 50% more damage. And what we're going to do here is I'm currently using the insect bow with the basic arrows. So we're going to try to hit this guy and see how much damage it does. So we're going to try to pick them off one at a time, hopefully, so we don't aggro all of them. We aggroed one of them. That's perfect. So that didn't even take him down a bar. That did root him, though. You can see it completely wrecked him. And you can see the antlion armor in action here with the fast shooting there. So it took him down, was it about a bar? I was using the regular ammo, or using the regular bow, or the regular arrows. Now let's switch over to the feather arrows. Okay, so we just want to get one of these guys at a time if possible. Actually, let's use the regular arrow in case we miss. No, we can't do that. We gotta use the... Alright. Okay, this guy's flying over here. Perfect. He's aggroed us. So it only did about 20% more damage. It did root him, though, so it's rooting him. Like, completely rooting him and almost buried him. That is kind of interesting there. It's really doing almost... The difference in damage is not even noticeable. It's maybe like... I mean, the fact that it rooted him every time there was pretty nice, but overall, it's only doing, it looks like maybe about 20% more damage. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to hop over to a creative world, and I'm just going to make a sprig bow level 0 and use some regular arrows and some crow feather arrows and just see, because I swear when I tested this probably about 2 months ago, that the feather arrows were doing about 50% more damage. Maybe there's something changed with them. Maybe I was using, I don't know what was going on, but let's head over to a creative world real quick just to make sure, because as of right now, to me, the feather arrows are just not even worth using. I hopped over to a creative world real quick, and as you can see, all I have is a level 0 sprig bow. I made some feather arrows and some regular arrows. I have no armor on except for the aphid slippers just to help me run around faster. For statuses, I have nothing active except Natural Explorer, which makes you run faster. And basically what I want to do is just double check and make sure that the feather arrows don't actually do 50% more damage, because I swear they did. So let's just shoot this guy who's not moving. The basic arrow. And that did maybe, what, like a third of his health right there? That did a third. Now let's head over here. Try a feather arrow against one of these other guys who for some reason decided he was going to go... I don't know what they're exactly attacking. Do they attack ants? Alright, let's get this guy. He's going to sit down. And as you can see, it did a little bit more damage. Let's just test out here. So we shot this guy once. Is he healed? He is not healed. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I missed him. This is why testing this stuff can be painful in this game. I think that other shot missed him. That would be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright, took 13 shots with the regular arrows. Now let's try with the other arrows. This guy full health. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it took 9 shots with that. What is that about? So if we do some math right now, it took 13 with a regular bow, but it almost killed him. And it took 9 with the feather arrows. So I think roughly the feather arrows are doing maybe 33% more damage. I thought they were doing 50, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's about 33% more damage. Of course, as we saw, it's very hard to see because we don't know how much health the insects have. Well, we don't see how much damage each shot is actually doing to them and how much health they have. Like, there's not a number on the bar. So it's a little bit difficult to see what the exact number of damage. I think that would be fantastic because as we're attacking something, it actually have a number pop up, because then it would be very easy. It would say, oh, this did 5 damage, this did 4. Now, of course, if you look at the bow, basically what happens is a regular arrow does the damage that's shown here, so it's doing 1.5. The feather arrow is going to do some percentage higher than that, so I believe it's either 33%, maybe 40%, but even if it was 50%, they might be worth using. But honestly, in my opinion, after doing this testing, and of course doing it in survival and not just in creative where they're not standing there, doing it in survival, the fact that for most cases, using the same bow with the same setups, I was killing the insects in about the same number of shots almost every single time. Maybe if you get lucky with crits, you'll end up killing them 1 shot faster using a feather arrow. But overall, I just think at this point, unless they buff the feather arrows a little bit more, it's probably not even worth using it, because like I said, you can get, even though I have an abundance of feathers, pro feathers, it's still going to be much harder to get them, especially if you have limited playtime. Like, if you're only playing this game a couple hours a week, you can head on over to one of these plants right here and get somewhere between, I think it's like 70 or 80 thistles off of this plant, something like that, 60 to 80 thistles. And that's going to give you, it only takes 5 to make 10 arrows, so that's going to give you 150-ish arrows if you go kill some lawn mites, which is super simple because they're all over the yard. You can easily get lawn mite fuzz. So I think right now I would recommend just using regular arrows and waiting to see if they actually buff the feather arrows to make them stronger. If you have a differing opinion, let me know in the comments down below. Like I said, I haven't been using bows as much lately. Typically what I do is I use the bows at the beginning until I unlock, specifically till I just get better armor, and after I'm able to kill wolf spiders with them, once I get Mithridatism, then I just switch to a melee weapon because I'm not worried about getting poisoned. But other than that, I only really use bows early game, except in certain situations like against stink bugs or against mosquitoes because they're flying, and sometimes with bees. But anyway, let me know down in the comments below what you think. Are you going to be using feather arrows? Are you going to be sticking with the regular arrows? What's your take on this? If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button and consider subscribing for more videos like this. Once again, you can become a channel member today for less than $2 a month by clicking the join button down below or hitting the join button on the screen right now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.